On Deji 360, we don't just ask the questions. What is wrong with amending the Constitution the way the National Assembly members have been doing it? We seek answers.
Constitution is constituent.
Our problem is not lack of laws. Our problem is lack of the willpower to implement our laws.
Answers that provide clarity.
While we negotiate, we should try to make it a point that the girls must be complete.
The clarity you need to make informed judgment so that you can make the right decision and take action.
People are saying it is you politicians that are responsible for this, that you are the reason why this is happening.
All these dollars that call themselves governors in this country.
I wish we had people like Tony at the National Assembly.
God forbid that I go to join that planet.
Deji 360, providing clarity to issues.
All right, welcome back. Let's continue the discussion on the 2018 budget. Joining me now from Abuja is Eze Onyekwere, who is the Executive Director of Center for Social Justice. Mr. Onyekwere, thank you very much for joining us on the program. First off, were you surprised when the President actually alleged that the lawmakers padded the 2018 budget by inserting around 6,403 projects into the budget?
The terminology you used about padding is a rather funny one.
Yeah, he didn't use the word padding actually.
Yes, but I think that even what the president said is a product of a mindset which is a lack of proper understanding of the clear intendments of Section 80 and 81 of the Constitution. The Constitution said that the president should submit estimates. The words used were estimates to the National Assembly for approval. And when you submit an estimate to an approving authority, you do not expect that budget to come out exactly the way you submitted it.
But should that authority now take responsibility for creating new projects and inserting those projects?
No. You make a mistake. Okay. You make a mistake. I said what was submitted were estimates. And the National Assembly is the approving authority. And before the estimates were submitted, the executive and the legislature had agreed that they will have constituency projects for legislators, the details of which had not been made available to the MDAs as at the time they submitted the budget. Because the executive failed to create the opportunity for the legislators to bring their own budget, to bring those constituency projects. So the only time they had to add it was at the time of the approval of the budget. So the executive does their own thing, they do their own thing in their own offices, they do not create an opportunity for interaction. This is something that should have been sorted out by the executive understanding that the budget is not their own. The budget is the budget of the Nigerian people, and there are two arms of government involved in making the budget, the executive and the legislature. So when you talk of insertion, it's just like the person doesn't understand exactly what he is saying, because the budget does not belong to the executive.
But
so
let me ask you,
we need to be clear about that.
So basically what you're saying is that what the lawmakers did is nothing wrong at all. But this is the problem.
It's clearly legal. It's within the confines of the Constitution. It is mischievous on the part of the president to do what he did. Moreover, if he had any misgiving with the legislature, did he endeavor to call the leadership of the National Assembly? He came and made a broadcast which said to incite the Nigerian people against the legislators. That can no longer continue to happen. This man is behaving with the mindset of a dictator. And people who are gullible stay on the streets and talk things they don't understand. Let them go and read the clear provisions of the Constitution. Section 80 and 81 did not say that the National Assembly is a rubber stamp.
No, but
the National Assembly is not a rubber stamp. Otherwise, the president should have made his budget and started implementing it.
Continue to go at this rate, because I also have a problem here. If the lawmakers, would create budget by themselves and then approve
Not create budget.
I'm talking about projects. I'm talking about projects now. Because don't you think that is where we're going to? That we might get to a situation where, well, maybe the lawmakers will then begin to sit to, actually write the budget and approve it.
Listen, you have there is a misconception which you have. We are supposed to jointly do something. The legislature and the executive are supposed to jointly do something.
Is it the responsibility of the legislature to prepare the budget?
Can you listen?
Yeah, of course I am.
There is no strict compartmentalization, because they said you should bring something for me to approve. So what did you think I should do? I have an interest the way you have in that budget. The ideal thing should have been that the executive should consult the legislature before they start the budgeting process to agree on the key benchmarks. You recall that the president brought the benchmark of $45 per barrel. But when the price of crude oil was increasing, the legislator came back and said, we approve $51 per barrel. So you are talking of about $6 per barrel times 2 million barrels of crude oil every day. So where do you put those projects? Now, part of the thing you're accusing the legislature of is the implementation of the National Health Act, where the president and his team have consistently refused to put down money. But the Health Act was signed by the president. So they provided additional 51 or 55 billion naira. So why shouldn't they do that? To agree to violate the law. What you have to understand is that people should sit down and stop playing saints and sinners and stop climbing high horses. Two people are supposed to do a job. You have to carry A along. You sit in your office and say, wait for me until I finish. I will bring to you for approval. And the guy waits for you. When he finishes, he now does his own thing. So until we agree that the two of them should work together, we will continue this thing. It didn't start today. From Obasanjo's days, there have been an attempt to blackmail the legislature. And that attempt will perpetually and continually fail until the executive recognizes that these are equal co-stakeholders in the budgeting process.
Don't you think, I mean, you have this kind of situation. We might run into a situation where some of those items inserted by the lawmakers, so to speak, would definitely not be implemented.
Why?
No,
why would they not be implemented?
It just might be difficult. For instance, I mean,
why would
begin to have some. I'm just saying. I'm asking because at the end of the day, who executes this?
So the fact that you execute, should it mean that you determine what goes? You determine everything? Then the law should have said that Mr. President prepares the budget and starts implementing.
Especially in the face of limited resources.
Which limited resources are there? So the limited resources should only be dictated by the executive. The expenditure of limited resources should only be dictated. I think there's a mindset even from the media. I am saying go and read section 80 and 81 of the Constitution. It did not say that the president should dictate. If he's a dictator, he should do the budget and implement it. He should just prepare the budget and implement the way he did in the Tucano aircrafts. The way he decided to buy Tucano aircrafts, appropriated it himself, then we don't need a legislature. We should go back to a dictatorship because Nigerians are simply not understanding that the difference in a democracy is a legislature. Let them do the executive and then abolish the legislature so that we can have a proper dictatorship.
So, given this present situation now, what do you think can be done?
The lessons should be learnt. At the beginning of every budget year, let the executive and legislature sit down to agree, okay, on how money should be spent so that this thing will be a done deal. There is what is called medium-term sector strategies. The executive refused to prepare medium-term sector strategies at the position where the legislators and everybody should have had an opportunity to make an input into what goes into the budget. The MTF is just prepared to satisfy all righteousness. At the end of the day, the whole process is convoluted. Do you know that as we sit and we are talking today, the executive should have been in the thick of preparing the 2019 budget? Is anybody thinking of that? Or we start late and at the end of the day, we end late and then we blame the legislature? Do you know that they are talking about presenting a funding plan to fund the deficit at the end of June? You have not presented a funding plan. Before you present it and it comes out of the National Assembly, you may be talking about July, August. And then when do you implement that budget? So I think people should climb down from their high horses. You see, the definition of madness is repeating the same experiment without altering variables and thinking you get a different result. Why has this crisis not ended since Obasanjo's days? Obasanjo was quick to inform Nigerians that legislators had collected furniture allowance. He did not tell Nigerians that he collected his own, which was far higher. He did not tell Nigerians that the vice president and ministers and judges collected their own, and permanent secretaries. So we must continue, we must stop this blackmail in the name of governance. If we continue blackmailing, we will be deceiving ourselves. And there is so much ignorance being peddled in Nigeria in the name of governance.
All right, Mr. Onyekwere, thank you very much for joining us on the program, and thank you very much for your insightful contribution.